Hi, welcome. So in today's class we'll be discussing about the topics of module 5. So in the basic introduction, so we have flip-flops. So basically in electronics, a flip-flop or a latch is a circuit that has two stable states and can be used to store the state information like a bistable multivibrator. So in the circuit can be made up of the circuit can be made in order to change the state by the signals applied to one or more control inputs, and will have one or more outputs there. So it is the basic storage element in the sequential circuit. Usually flip flop and the latches are the fundamental building blocks of the digital electronic system used in the computer communication and many other types of systems. Flip flop and the latches are used as a storage elements. I mean, it stores some data there. A flip flop is a device which stores a single bit of data. One of its two states represents a 1 or the other represents the 0. Such data storage can be used to store can be used for the storage of state, and such a circuit is described as the sequential circuit in electronics. So basically, we know that the flip flop is a 1 bit storage memory cell which can be used for storing the digital data. To increase the storage capacity in terms of the number of bits, we have to use a group of flip flop. Such a group of flip flop is known as the register. So the n bit register will contain n number of flip flop, and it is capable of storing a n bit word. And next, when we see the counters here, so counter basically it is a sequential circuit. A digital circuit which is used for counting the pulses is known as the counter. So counter is the widest application of the flip flop. It is a group of flip flop with a clock signal applied. Usually the counters are classified into two types. One is asynchronous or ripple counters and synchronous counters. So if you can see here, so I'm just considering, I'm just giving you an example related to 4-bit D flip-flop registers with the data load, clear and the clock inputs. So here I'm taking the D flip-flop and I am indicating that it is 4-bit. So the number of bits is equal to the number of flip-flops which I have. So I need to construct a 4-bit D flip-flop register. So I am considering 4 D flip-flops there. So the clock signal is given as taken as the output of your AND gate. So for your AND gate, the input signals are the clock and a load. So basically when load is equal to 0 or whenever it is disabled, the register is not at all clocked and it holds its present value. Fine. But whenever the load is equal to 1, the clock signal is transmitted to the flip-flop clock input, and the data applied to the D input will be loaded into the flip-flop on the falling edge of the clock. You can see here. So the same thing in the previous slide, I have taken the inputs as load, clock, load, right? With respect to load, the data was loading into the circuit. So in the next case, what I'll do is I'll just give an example related to the shift registers there, how the data will be loaded into the flip-flop. If the Q outputs are 0, 0, 0, 0, that is if Q3 is equal to 0, Q2, Q1, Q0 is equal to 0, and the data inputs are 1, 1, 0 and 1. For 4 flip-flops, I am giving 4 inputs there. Then 1, 1, 0, 1 indicates that D3 is equal to 1 and D0 is equal to 1. Fine. So whenever this amount of data is given to the flip-flop there, after the falling edge of the clock, Q will change from 0, 0, 0, 0 to 1, 1, 0, 1 as indicated. Next, if the flip flop with the clock enable are available. So it's same thing, but we are adding an extra input signal which is called as clock enable. So when load is equal to 0, the clock is disabled and the register holds its data. But whenever the load is equal to 1, the clock is enabled and the data applied to the D input will be loaded into the flip flop following the falling edge of the clock. And here is the symbol for the 4-bit register using the bus notation for the D inputs and Q outputs. And next is we have the register and register transfer, that is data transfer between the registers. So basically the figure which we have here shows how the data can be transmitted from the output of the two of the registers into the third register using a tri-state buffers. So basically what this tri-state buffer is, it is just similar to that of a buffer, but it adds an additional enable input that controls whether the primary input is passed to its secondary or not. That means if the enable inputs signals are true, then the tri-state buffer behaves like a normal buffer. If the enable input signal is false, then the tri-state buffer passes a high impedance or a high Z signal, which effectively disconnects the output from the circuit. So you can see here, so if enable is equal to 1 and load is equal to 1, the output of the register A is enabled onto the tri-state bus and the data in the register A will be stored in the queue after the rising edge of the clock. If enable is equal to 0 and load is equal to 1, the output of the register B will be enabled onto the tri-state bus and the stored in queue, that is queue after the rising edge of the clock. And next is the logic diagram of a 8-bit register with a tri-state buffer. Fine, basically if you see here, the figure majorly shows an integrated circuit register that contains 8 D flip-flops with a tri-state buffer at the flip-flop counters. These buffers are enabled when enable is equal to 0. A symbol for this 8-bit registers is known as as shown in the figure there. So basically it contains an input Q, an enable signal, and the inputs there, that is 8 lines. Then we have a clock signal. Next, the data transfer using a tri-state buffer. So figure shows how the data can be transferred from one of the 4 8-bit registers into one of the 2-bit registers. Other 2 registers. 8 bits of data are transferred in parallel from the register A, B, C and or D to the register G or H or both. So that means that if EF, that is the input for your decoder, is equal to 00, A is stored in G or H. If EF is equal to 0, 1, then the will be stored in G or H. So the same thing, EF is equal to 1, 0 and EF is equal to 1, 1. C and D is stored in the galvanometer G. So the next topic is the register to register transfer. So that is parallel adder with accumulator. Next, yes. So here x is nothing but the values which is stored in the accumulator, that is from xn to x2 cross n, x2 x1. Next, y is equal to yn until y2 y1, which is applied to the full adder inputs. The sum of x and y appears at the adder outputs. Add signal is used to load their adder output into the accumulator flip-flop on the rising edge of the clock. So before addition can takes place, the accumulator must be loaded with X value. So this can be accomplished in two ways: the clear the accumulator and add multiplexer at the accumulator inputs. So clear and accumulator using the asynchronous clear inputs on the flip-flop, and then put the X data on the Y inputs to the adder and add to the accumulator in the normal way. So basically, the n-bit parallel adder with accumulator, it adds multiplexers at the accumulator. So input, so that we could select either the value y or x load into the device there.